Good day, everybody. I'm going to talk today about overview of nutrition. We have three words: nutrition, food, and diet. Are these three words the same or different? We have lots of foods in the market, and we have these three words: nutrition, food, and diet. Are they similar or different? Nutrition is the science of foods and the substances they contain, while the food is a general term which includes all goods present in the market. Foods can be derived from plants or animals. They provide energy and nutrients, and they are used for the maintenance, growth, and repair. Diet is what the individual is actually eating, what is the system he is following, and the quality of this diet can affect the health of the individual and also affects the risk of chronic diseases. How do people make their food choices? We have a lot of foods in the market, different categories, and how do the people choose their foods? It's according to these criteria: personal preference, habit, ethnic heritage or tradition, emotional comfort, values, social interactions, availability of the food, convenience, economy and the socioeconomic status, positive and negative associations, body weight and image. In summary, a person selects foods for a variety of reasons. Food choices influence health. Balance of food selected over time can make an important difference to health. For this reason, people are wise to think nutrition, think about the science of selecting foods when making their food choices. Nutrition and health benefits. We have a category of foods, we call them functional foods because they benefit the body. They provide health benefits beyond their nutrient contributions. Example, the whole foods and fortified foods. Nutrients benefit the body in two ways. Number one, in energy. They provide the body with energy, and secondly, provide the body with nutrients that are used for building the tissues of the body. Composition of foods, we have 6 classes of nutrients. Some of them are organic, some are non-organic, and there are certain types of foods, we call them non-nutrients. Organic nutrients, you can notice that they contain carbon. These are the carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and vitamins, while the inorganic nutrients are the minerals and water. Body composition, you can notice that there's a difference between males and females, and the major part in the body is water. Second part is fats, more in females than in males, and the third part includes the carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. The energy nutrients, these are the nutrients which can provide energy, and we have 3 classes which can give energy to the body: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Carbohydrates and proteins, if you oxidize 1 gram of carbohydrate or proteins, this gives 4 kilocalories, while fats give more than double. It gives 1 gram of fat, when it is oxidized, it gives 9 kilocalories per gram. Let's compare these two meals. The one on the right is a higher energy density meal, while the one on the left is a lower energy density meal. Both meals give the same amount of calorie, which is 144 calories. But the one on the right, if we weigh this meal, it is 144 grams, while if we weigh the foods present on the meal on the left side, it is 450 grams. Both of them give the same amount of calories, which is 500 kilocalories. But because the weight of the foods in the meal on the left is much greater than the meal on the right side, we call the meal on the left side as a lower energy density meal. Same thing. 1575 kilocalories can be obtained from these two meals. Which one is greater in weight? Of course, the one on the right. So it is a low energy density meal compared to the one on the left. What gives more calories are the fats and oils. For example, if we take this amount of oil, this little amount of oil will give 400 calories. If we take this amount of chicken, we'll give the same amount of calorie, but with a larger quantity. And if we take vegetables, it will fill up the stomach for the same amount of calories. So the three types give 400 calories. Vitamins are organic, they are not energy yielding, they are essential. We have water soluble and fat soluble classes of vitamins, but the vitamins are vulnerable to be destroyed. They are easily destroyed. Minerals are inorganic, they don't yield energy, they are essential and they are indestructible. Water is inorganic, it doesn't yield energy, of course it is essential. In summary, foods provide nutrients, which are substances that support growth, maintenance, and repair of body tissues. We have 6 classes of nutrients: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. Foods rich in energy-yielding nutrients, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins provide the major materials for building the body tissues and yielding energy for the body use and storage. Energy is measured in kilocalories. Vitamins, minerals, and water facilitate a variety of activities in the body. Dietary reference intakes. These are a series of estimates of the amount of energy and nutrients needed by different groups of healthy people. They are a set of recommendations for the proper intake of nutrients and energy to ensure that the body is getting its needs for good health and prevention of disease. The amount of each nutrient needed is called a nutritional requirement. These are different for each nutrient and also vary between individuals and their life stages. For example, women of the childbearing age need more iron than men. Dietary reference intakes includes the estimated average requirements, recommended dietary allowances, adequate intakes, and tolerable upper limits. The estimated average requirement. It's the average daily amount of nutrient that will maintain a specific biochemical or physiological function in half of the healthy people of a given age and gender group. The RDA recommended dietary allowance, the average daily amount of nutrient considered adequate to meet the known nutrient needs of practically all healthy people, a goal for dietary intake by individuals. Deficient is the amount of nutrient below which almost all healthy people can be expected over time to experience deficiency symptoms. Adequate intake is the average daily amount of a nutrient that appears sufficient to maintain a specified criterion, which is a value used as a guide for nutrient intake when an RDA cannot be determined. The dietary reference intakes. We can compare the number of people with the nutrient requirement. If we take the nutrient requirement enough for half of the population, we are speaking of the EAR, which is the estimated average requirement. If we are going to cover all the population, we are now speaking about the RDA, the recommended dietary allowance. So the EAR meets the nutrient needs of 50% of a particular population, while the RDA meets the nutrient needs of practically all 97 to 98% of a particular population. The EAR, to recall the term, you may link the words average and half together. When you are average, you are halfway 50% between good and bad. The importance of the EARs. First, they are used to assess the adequacy of a population's food supply, and second, they are used as basis for calculating the RDAs for individuals. How do we calculate the RDA, the EAR, and the different kinds of dietary reference intakes? This is done through research, and research is 3 phases. Phase 1 is on animal studies. Second one are laboratory-based in vitro studies, while the third phase are human intervention or clinical trials. These are parts of a research article. And as we said, the research is the method we use in order to calculate or to know the different dietary reference intakes. The tolerable upper intake level is the maximum daily amount of a nutrient that appears safe for most healthy people, and beyond which there is an increased risk of toxicity. If we have a nutrient and we know its EAR and the RDA, and the population is taking an amount of this nutrient below the EAR, then this intake is probably inadequate. If the intake is something between the EAR and RDA, then the intake is possibly inadequate. While if the intake is above the RDA, the intake is probably adequate. The energy recommendations, the estimated energy requirement, which is the average dietary energy intake that maintains energy balance and good health in a person of a given age, gender, weight, height, and certain level of physical activity. The acceptable macronutrient distribution range, it ranges the intakes of the energy nutrients that provide adequate energy and nutrients and reduce the risk of chronic diseases. And this distribution should be in these ranges: for carbohydrates 45 to 65%, for fats 20 to 35%, while for proteins 10 to 35%. So using the nutrient recommendations, it estimates or they give you an estimates of the energy and nutrient intakes, and these apply only to healthy people, not people having diseases. Recommendations are not minimum requirements. Recommendations are not optimal for all people. Recommendations should be met by consuming a varied diet, and recommendations apply to average daily intakes. Each dietary reference intake category serves a unique purpose. Thank you very much.